Hello, everybody. This is middle of June, and we're moving up on a year. Next month, July, Mr. Chestnut and I have been sitting in front of y'all for 52 weeks, along with our wonderful social promoter, uh, Chrissy. And we enjoy doing these. I hope you're watching them. I hope you will watch them because we try to touch on a different topic. Maybe we will repeat one every once in a while. But what we want to do today is talk about priorities. You know, everybody's got priorities.
Yeah.
I got to do this before I do that. I need to pay off this before I do that. Well, the town has that, and I only have four. In no particular order, although I'm going to put mine in an order I think that I'd like to see them in. This is my Christmas wish, my Santa Claus wish, you might say. I am so proud of the fact that we got $3.25 million
Yes.
from the state legislature for a new town hall.
Yes, sir.
And I've had people say, well, you want to get out of the, well, they don't know about the history of this building and the weather issues relating to this building. That's one thing. And I know that when all said and done, we're going to have a beautiful new town hall on the other end of Main Street, when we get that done. Everybody knows how I feel about young people. I devoted my life to young people, 44 years in the classroom, youth council, youth summit, all of that. We need a youth center, and that's a priority of mine. I don't know where it'll be, I don't know how complex it'll be, I don't know how square footage it'll be, but I've already started working with kids on giving me ideas.
Most definitely.
And at some point, we will have a youth center in this town.
Yes,
I
sir.
hope I'm still alive when it happens because it's a lifelong dream of mine. A third thing that I would like to see is a renewal of or interest in, and I'm not picking on Mr. Chestnut by mentioning this because he's the person in charge of this, but we really, really need to take a hard look at enforcement of our codes enforcement in town. We've got people that are being it's a problematic thing, and we've got people that are being impacted about the fact that we don't have a rule to cover what's bothering them, which we should. And that town board and Mr. Chestnut are going to address that. And the last thing on my priority list is to do something. We had no control over this. It was there long before I was born, long before anybody who's working in the town of Fairmont who served on the town board was born. Our canal. Heavy rains causes flooding for the people that live downstream from it. And that is another. And those are my four priorities. I hope we can do something to correct or to add to those things. Mr. Chestnut, now it's time for your list.
So, very good priorities, and we're on the same page when it comes to priorities. The next focus over the next few to 6 months is the construction of the new town hall and getting that out and getting work done on that. The second thing is to work on the youth center, and I'm certain we'll have some kind of place in before the end of the year. That covers your first two priorities. Code enforcement. I was out this morning with our public works director to look at two of our major problems in town and having a deep conversation with him about what we can do on the town side, knowing that these projects are expensive. Within a block of here, we're looking at a $10,000 or $11,000 project with the tear down of a burned house, and it's close to the school. We're also looking at another building that's going to cost upwards of $20,000 to bring down, and it's close to a school, and it's hindering a paving project. So definitely three or four of those concerns are noted, and we'll get work on. The last one is the canal. We're working with our engineers right now to release a project that's going to remove some of the sediment out of the town. Along with your priorities, I have some priorities for the town going forward. For one is to strengthen our economic and financial basis for the town. As we've talked during our budget workshop, expenses are continuing to go up.
Yeah.
While our town's revenue has, with the exception of the county's property tax revaluation, the town's revenue's kind of flatlined over the past couple of years. We've depended a lot on grant money. We've seen some loss of grant money over the last 6 months, based on what's going on. That may come back around in a cycle, you know. We can just keep our fingers crossed and hope that the grant money returns back to all of our communities.
That's the big thing, is money.
Most definitely, you know. But what my biggest priority, and it's inclusive of those four things that you and I talked about, is to get citizens on the ground to see these projects in action, to know that we're not just sitting on our hands and not doing anything and keep talking about things, but getting out in the community, showing them the new lift station, being very transparent and open about the town hall construction, the canal work, code enforcement. But my priorities, you know, especially over the next 6 months, because we've talked about 2025 being a year of action, just bringing these projects to the tables, let our citizens know what we're doing to work hard for them to increase or enhance their quality of life, going forward for the town.
The thing that bothers me the most as a teacher, 44 years in the classroom, is that there needs to be a massive education
Yes, sir.
project,
Yes, sir.
initiative done in this community. And I wish there was a way we could get all the people in town into one room and you and I could teach a class
Most definitely.
on, we cannot do this because we do not have the green stuff.
Yes, sir.
Okay, anybody want to ask a question? 800 hands would go up.
Yeah.
Why don't you have the stuff?
Yeah.
Because the people that give it to us don't have it to give us.
Most definitely.
That's the biggest problem we have. There are people actually living in Fairmont, North Carolina. Mr. Chestnut, you know this better than I do because you're really more cutting edge out in the public every day with police chief, public works, and all that. They actually believe that we're sitting here ignoring issues that are staring us in the face. Center Street's a perfect example.
Most definitely.
We got derelict buildings on Center Street. We have one that's being completely cleaned out,
Yes,
already
sir.
done by a local flipper,
Yes.
a house flipper,
Yeah.
him and his brother. And he's gonna turn that into something really nice.
Most definitely.
Why didn't we do that earlier? Why you let Center Street sit there forever? Because it's private property.
Most
And we can't do it unless someone gives us the property. That happens, we turn it over to somebody, they can
That's right.
make a silk purse out of a sow's ear.
Most definitely.
That's the problem. It's the money, folks.
Yeah.
It's always about the money. We're not turning a deaf ear on anybody.
That's right.
We just can't do, and breaking the law. We go in and say, you gotta do this today. If you do not, we're gonna fine you $100 a day. We could fine them $100 a day. Then they go to a judge and a judge says, you were wrong, Fairmont. You
That's
can't do
right.
it that way.
That's right.
And we gotta refund all that money. There's a process that has to be done. And I wish we could get the people.
Most definitely. And you know, the state has pushed back on municipalities with the implementation of fees for various things that's going on in the community, whether it's fines, whether it's, liens on property. You know, the state of North Carolina has become more of a property right state, and we see that in a lot of land use decisions going around. And you know, the last thing I want to do, you know, for our hardworking citizens out there, is to take taxpayers' dollars and spend them in a way that the problem is solved, but there's no money, there's no way to regenerate that money back, you know? So, you know, one of the things that I'm working on is figuring out if we have to spend taxpayers' money on cleaning up another citizen's property, how do we generate that money back to do something either with that property or somewhere else in the community, so the taxpayers can see a return on investments. I will never recommend to this board that we gut our fund balance to clean up this
No,
town.
we can't do
You know,
that. We've been
because
through that before.
yeah, because we can't estimate or guess when the next economic downturn is coming. You know, so it would be reckless if we couldn't pay our bills after a while, even though we got a good clean town. But if we can't pay our bills, we can't fix water and sewer leaks or police vehicles. You know, so it's a big, you know, circular dilemma that we have to deal with. But it's worth the fight. You're all in, I'm all in, and based on the conversations that board members have had at our budget workshops, they want to see things done faster. But they are, like you and I, worried about the bank account at the end of the day.
So those are our priorities. Mr. Chestnut's got some that are just like mine. Mine are some like his. He's got some extra ones that, you know, and I could name 5 or 6 other ones, but those are my major ones, and those are his major ones, because we don't want, you know, you miss breakfast or cooking lunch or, you know, getting in your car and driving to Lumberton to buy something at Walmart. So this is all the time we have for you today, but we're going to be coming back next week with another hopefully interesting video for you, and
And
hopefully
some
you'll tune in.
updates, most definitely.
Y'all have a good day.